Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Mississippi Kidney Cares podcast hosted by the Mississippi Kidney Foundation. I'm your host and executive director of the Mississippi Kidney Foundation, TJ Mayfield. So excited to finally have this platform to share with people on both video and audio of the Mississippi Kidney Foundation, healthcare, and kidney health around the state of Mississippi. As I said, we're so thankful here at the Mississippi Kidney Foundation for this opportunity, getting a chance to reach out to people from all across the state of Mississippi, not just here in Jackson, not just in Madison or Rankin or on the Gulf Coast or South Haven or Tupelo, Meridian. What about the people in the Mississippi Delta that need my help or our help? What about the people in rural areas who don't have the resources and the knowledge and education to fight and combat kidney failure and have great kidney health? So I'm so excited for this. Thank you to our sponsor, Align Health Solutions. We're so excited to have a member of our sponsorship team and a member of the Mississippi Kidney Foundation Advisory Board, Dr. Natasha Avery. She'll premiere later in this season. She'll give us a scope of what Align Health Solutions does, and I'm just so excited to have her as well. I thought since we wanted to start this podcast, it's only right that I started off with my personal story and how I got to where I am now. We look at kidney failure and we talk about dialysis. Nobody ever has anything good to say about dialysis, and there is nothing good to say about dialysis, but I wanted to share my personal story with kidney failure. I never forget when I was a baby, I had blood in my urine. Nobody understood why. It was kind of like an unknown. And so from that point forward, from 4 years old, all my parents let me drink with water, strictly water. Every now and then, I can get a little, orange juice, Sunny Delight. Back in the day, we had a lot of bright and early in the house, sipping on that in the morning with breakfast and everything. But I remember sophomore in college, 19 years old. I go to the doctor, urinating the cup, and I said, everything will be fine. Do this, go back to school, take a blood test, everything's cool. My doctor called my mom a couple of days later and said, we see something not right with your creatinine. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but okay, cool. So I go back to the doctor, same thing, more tests, more urine, more blood, and we do that part. So a couple of days later, they called me, and they was like, you need to come to the doctor on Friday. Now, keep in mind, on a Friday at 3 o'clock, 3:30, most doctors, they're trying to get out. They're trying to get to the weekend. They're trying to go enjoy their family, friends. And this was around the time, I do a sports podcast, I do radio and all that, so I remember everything around sports. And I remember the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks were about to play that weekend in the playoffs, and I'm excited for the game. But I'm driving, I'm leaving. I'm a sophomore at Alcorn State University. I'm leaving. I'm going to the doctor, not thinking anything of it. But I knew something wasn't right. Like I said, I'm going to the doctor 3:30 on a Friday. So I walk in, nobody is there but the doctor and my parents. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good, man. Walk into the room, and I'm sitting there. My mom's sitting right here. My dad is sitting right here. And the doctor comes in, and I say these words everywhere, but said the words that changed my life forever. 19 years old, 2 weeks away from my 20th birthday. And ironically, as I record this episode, the weekend before Dr. Martin Luther King Day, this was around the exact same time that I got the words, you need a new kidney or you're going to die. And so I'm like, wait, what? He says, you were born with a kidney disease called Alport syndrome. This is what we believe. We got to do more tests to find out. He says the average human kidney is about the size of your fist. Yours are functioning at about half of that. So I'm sitting here, I got all these questions, I'm so confused, but nothing resonates louder than you need a new kidney or you're gonna die. So I didn't have any questions. He says, you need to get on dialysis and you need a kidney transplant. I said, look, I don't want to do dialysis. I just want a kidney transplant. He said, you don't have a choice. If you don't do dialysis, your kidneys can shut down and you will die walking on campus or whatever that you're doing. And so at this point, I said, okay, cool. I jumped in my car, drove back to school, silent, trying to gather my thoughts. And about a couple of years later, after a biopsy and some other things happening, it was true. I did have kidney failure. It was tough because at that time, I played football in high school and I wanted to go back and play football at that time. And this was right before Alcorn had really got good in football. Jay Hobson, he was coming down from, he's from Vicksburg. I'm from Vicksburg. I thought the connection, I was going to try to walk on to the team, whatever it took, because I felt like I was healthy. I was excited. I weighed about 240, 250 at that time. So the football was out the window. So now I'm wondering, am I even going to finish my college education? So what's going to happen with this part of it now? And then I move on, and a couple of years later, thankfully I was on a fast track in all my coursework that I finished on campus a year early. Well, coincidentally enough, the year that I finished on campus a year early, I started dialysis. I got out of school like May 2nd or something like that. I started dialysis that Friday. So keep in mind, 21 years old, on dialysis. A lot of my friends and everybody I hang out with, they're still on campus enjoying it. And every single night, I'm hooking up to what we call peritoneal dialysis. It was in March. I remember it was March because, like I said, I remember everything through sports. March Madness was going on. C.J. McCollum, he was playing in college. They beat Duke University that time. It was a big upset. When I was coming home from the University Medical Center from getting a catheter put in me to do my dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis, basically what it is you do it every single night. You can't miss treatments. You can't be late. And I couldn't be late because I still wanted to have my job. So every single night, I'm missing out on all the parties and all the fun because I have to hook up to this machine every single night. And a lot of times it's 7.5 hours, 8.5 hours. Great part about it, I did it while I was asleep, so it didn't take too much time out of my day. And so I'm sitting here, and the tough part about it was the first time they brought medicine to my parents' house. And my parents, they have a fairly big house, 4 or 5 bedrooms, a kitchen, dining area, living room. And so my dad and my mom, they added on to the house when I was in 7th grade. And thankfully enough, they did because in the old part of the house, every single room except the kitchen had my medicine to the ceiling. Boxes on top of boxes. And the hard part about it was I'm sitting at home one day and my nurse Brandy, I shout out to her because she really helped me, Nurse Johnny, Steve, all my people in Vicksburg at Delta Clinic. I'm very appreciative of them. I would be remiss if I didn't mention them and what they did for me. My doctors, Dr. Sohal, Dr. Michael Davis, everybody that played a part in my dialysis career, I should say. I remember the day she told me, she was like, look, it's going to be a lot of boxes. So I'm thinking, 20, 25 boxes, cool. An 18-wheeler pulled up in front of my parents' house. And I'll never forget, he was like, I'm looking for Mr. Mayfield. I'm like, yeah, I'm Thomas Mayfield. He was like, yeah, I got a delivery for you. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. And I'll never forget standing in the front yard, and it was 3 crates full of medicine, just stacked up probably, 5-6 feet high of all my medication. And the hard part about it was that was the first time I ever felt like I was sick in my life because I couldn't escape it. There was no way I can go in the house and not see the medication and not think about, man, I'm really sick. I really got to do this to survive. I started that. I finished my career at Alcorn, honor student. I didn't let it deter me. I couldn't let it stop me. But the hard part about it was, and it still bothers me, is I missed my grandfather's funeral because I got sick. I had an infection called peritonitis. Mentally, I was going through a lot, and I didn't take care of myself properly. My granddad, a man that I still love, respect, honor, one of the most powerful people in my life. And to not be able to attend that funeral is something that is still kind of heartbreaking to this day. But I look at it as a source of strength. Gives me something to continue to work toward. Every day I'm sitting in the office here at the Mississippi Kidney Foundation. I understand the magnitude of the position that I have. I don't take it lightly because when I was going through it, I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I'm hoping that this podcast will shed some light on some of the things about kidney failure, the sickness or how you feel mentally, the struggle of feeling like nobody understands what I'm going through. And I feel like that. My wife, she loves me. My mom, my dad, my brother, all of them love me, but I'm the only one with kidney failure. It's a hereditary disease, very rare. I think only like 1 out of 12 people get Alport syndrome, and it's been something that, like I said, at a young age of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, hooking up to this machine. And the problem that I had was so many people saying, oh man, you don't look sick, or I never would have imagined you going through it. That's because I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want sympathy for it. I'm like, man, look, I still go to work. I still work hard. I'm working at a high school in Vicksburg, and I'm doing things for young people in the community because I can't let this stop me. I can't let my sickness determine who I am. I can't quit because I don't have a reason to quit. I always felt like there was something that I could do more to give people, not just in my city, but of myself. I always wanted to give more of myself to help people. And I'm so thankful that God has always blessed me and given me the opportunity to continue to go on. And so I'm going through this dialysis, and I had a lot of problems go through it. I lost extreme weight. I got down to 160 pounds before I got a kidney. I'm going through sickness. I passed out one time in the bathroom. I passed out one time at the school that I was working at because so much was pulled from my body, taking medications every time you got to go eat, and all these different things that somebody my age, I didn't feel like I was supposed to be going through. And so finally, out of all the sickness, out of all the emotional and things that I felt mentally, I'll never forget that call I got. And it's always kind of funny how life works, how it always comes full circle. As I said, I'm recording this, and by the time a lot of you see it, it'll be a couple of weeks after the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday, which is so special to me because, as I mentioned with my grandfather, the story of him telling me meeting Dr. Martin Luther King before he passed away was so touching and emotional to me. But thinking about it, that call I got to get my kidney, I'm sitting here Sunday morning, the day before Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and again, I remember all of this through sports. NFC Championship game. Saints are going to play the Rams this night in the Superdome. And so I'm thinking, going to church with my wife, coming home, I'm watching football the rest of the day, and everything just going to keep kicking like always. Phone rings about 8 that morning. Normally, my brother, he calls me and check on me for the week, and I didn't answer. I'm like, man, I call him back. It's kind of early, blah, blah, blah. And so immediately after that, my wife's phone was ringing. Didn't think much of it. But it was almost so immediate, like when they hung up the phone for me, they had her on speed dial, and they did, of course. But, And then my phone rings again. I'm like, man, what's up? Like, who's calling at this time of morning wanting to get in touch with us so bad? And so I look, I roll over, look at the phone and everything, and 504. I'm like, wait a minute. I know that area code. Let me pick this up and see who this is. And so I see, Tulane Medical Center. They were one of the places that I was on the kidney transplant list. I was on here in Jackson at the University Medical Center. I was about to get on at UAB in Birmingham and thinking about Vanderbilt in Nashville. So I pick up the phone and they say, hey, Mr. Mayfield, this is such and such from Tulane Medical Center. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Calling me this early in the morning. What's up? And they said, we think we found a match for your kidney. So, okay, cool. But you're going to be the backup. So there's a possibility you may not get it today. And so I'm thankful that they told me that, because the whole time I'm like, called my dad. I was like, look, I got to get down to Tulane in 5 hours. And I was like, that ain't no problem. I'm going to get there. If I got to hit 100 on Lake Pontchartrain, I don't care. I'm getting there. If I got to get a ticket, hey, man, give me the ticket on the way there. But I'm going to get my kidney. And so I get there. And again, they tell me I'm the backup. So I'm like, I'm just going down here. I'm going to chill for a couple of hours. Then I'm going to leave. So I'm sitting here. And again, keep in mind, this is the NFC Championship game. The Saints, you got Drew Brees, all these cats, Michael Thomas they're playing against. The LA Rams, they got Jared Goff, Sean McVay, Todd Gurley, all these people. And this is the opportunity for the Saints to get to the Super Bowl for the first time since they won the Super Bowl. And so there's people everywhere in New Orleans. I mean, it was hard to even get to the hospital because the Superdome was like 2 blocks away from Tulane Medical Center. So we get there. I had a police escort. We got down, and I'm sitting here, and in my mind, I'm like, look, let me just watch the game, chill in the room for a minute. We're going to get back up. I-55, jump off 27, I get back to Vicksburg, go to work in the morning. So I'm sitting here watching the game. Keep in mind, I'm not a Saints fan at all. I'm a Tennessee Titans through and through. Steve McNair, my guy, still my favorite player of all time. So I never grew up a Saints fan. But I'm rooting for the Saints. I'm sitting here and tough game all the way through. And I'll never forget, for the people watching, if you're a Saints fan, you'll never forget the horrible pass interference call, well, non-call, near the back of the end zone. Saints got horribly cheated this game. I'll be one of the first people to say this, but I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, oof. I do get a kidney. I hope my doctor ain't no Saints fan, because, boy, this ain't going to turn out good, because everybody in the hospital, you could hear, like, nurses like, oh, I know they right, people x-raying me. They're not even looking at me. They're watching the game. I'm like, man, look, you need to be paying attention to me, but everywhere I went, janitors, everybody in the hospital watching the game. And so, of course, the Saints lose that game. Okay, so I'm still thinking I'm the backup. So I'm sitting here in the next game. Tom Brady, New England Patriots, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. This is Patrick Mahomes' first year starting in Kansas City. And so about the second quarter, a nurse walks in and it says, Mr. Mayfield, get ready. You're going in the morning. Yo, I'm finna get a kidney. 4 years of wondering was I going to die. At any given moment, I'm about to get a kidney. And so I'm laying there that night. I'm like, man, I just so thankful, because, like I said, I thought I was going to die. A couple of times I thought I was going to die, or wondered what was the point that I had to go through this. Wondering why, for me, now I got kidney failure. I had to get the kidney disease and do dialysis at a young age and everything, but it's finally going to change. And so I I wake up that morning, it was early, like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. They're coming in, they're prepping me. They're like, all right, Mr. Mayfield, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I remember I'm rolling back into the room. My wife is here, my dad is here. And I'm not necessarily nervous, but I'm like, man, I'm about to go through a major surgery to save my life. So I'll never forget the doctor. And I was excited, and I told the doctor, and I was like, hey, man, y'all gonna record it? Because I want to watch it. I want to see. I'm interested in it. You gonna cut me open? You gonna put a new kidney in me? I want to see this. He was like, nah, man, we're gonna record it. It was like, are you nervous? I'm like, yeah, you about to cut me open? Yeah. They're like, oh, no, don't be nervous. You're gonna be fine. That was the last thing I remember. You know, he tapped me on the shoulder. Anybody ever got a kidney, got any kind of surgery, you know, once they hit you with the anesthesia, it's a wrap. Like, you done. You don't hardly remember anything. But I remember waking up, rolling back into the room. And the first thing I did when I woke up, I checked the catheter. I was like, oh, God, it's gone. You know, I ain't got to do dialysis no more. I'm good. But it wasn't that easy. You know, I get the kidney. Of course, you got a major surgery. It's a lot of pain. Struggling through that. I lost a lot of weight. You know, I got down to about 130. It was so bad to where I used to brush my teeth, wash my face in the dark. I didn't want to see myself. I didn't even know who I was. It was so bad one time to where I bought a size small underwear. They didn't even fit. They were too big. I was so small. And I'm sitting here looking at myself like, you know, I weigh about 220 now. I lost about 100 pounds from the time I started dialysis until the time I got that kidney transplant. My 25th birthday rolls around February 1st. And on my 25th birthday is the Super Bowl. Remember, the Patriots just defeated the Chiefs. The Rams just defeated the Saints. On my 25th birthday, I was taking 45 different pills. Like I said, I was down to 130 pounds. Had to learn to walk again. A little bit of everything. The months after that, you know, it still wasn't easy. I go back into the hospital for what I thought was COVID-19 because it was early 2019, had chills, loss of appetite. Nobody knew what it was. I almost died, like literally. My white blood cell count was 0.2. So 2 months after I get a kidney, I'm laying in the hospital, and they told me, you almost died. So I get better from that. My white blood cell count picks up. I go home. And you ought to know by now, listening to me, it ain't that easy for me. So I come home. 2 days later, I'm standing in the house, and a storm comes through Vicksburg, tornado. I'm sitting in a chair that I sat in every single day after my kidney transplant. And I walk out into the front, and a tree falls right through where I was sitting in the house. And I'm like, yo, really? But more than anything, I was happy because I'm like, I'm here for a reason. You know, there was 3 times in probably the last 3 or 4 months, I could have been dead. And so when I do things here with the Kidney Foundation now, I don't have any fear. I'm like, man, look, I could have been dead years ago. Like, somebody may tell me no to something, to a project, or they can't do something for me. No isn't going to stop me. I can't. It's a reason why I'm here, and I can't let anything deter me. So, you know, telling my story with people and getting here with the Mississippi Kidney Foundation has been a complete privilege and honor. I left education because I felt like there was something more for me. Working with young people was great, but I always felt like there was something more that I got to do. I'm thankful that I got the opportunity to work in media and radio, but there was something else out there. And finally getting to the Mississippi Kidney Foundation was so important. Working with the virtual support group, the Kidney Kickoff. We got the Uptown Drawdown coming up March 4th at the Country Club of Jackson. Please come out and support any kind of event, any kind of great plans that we have coming up. I'm putting my whole heart into it. And my kidney, of course, because I'm thankful that I got that kidney, but It's just one of them things where this podcast is going to be so therapeutic for a lot of people, but most importantly, me, because I needed somebody to talk to me when I was going through it. So I'm hoping that the words I say, the words that our guests say, will do the same thing. So all of the education and all of the information that we share on this podcast, it's not for me. It's for the people who go through dialysis, the people that have questions about kidney failure, the fear, the misunderstandings, the misconception about organ transplants or kidney transplants or everything that we talk about when it comes to the lack of knowledge around dialysis, kidneys. I always say nobody cares about their kidneys until they fail. Everybody talks about the heart, the brain, the lung, but until somebody's kidneys fail, that's the first time we talk about it. Not with me. So for the people listening, for the people watching, I hope that you continue to come back to this podcast. Don't let it stop with my story. If you have a story, call me. We'll talk. My phones are always open to people that need my help because I was in your shoes one day. And of course, as a kidney patient, I'll have to have another kidney transplant to extend my life. So I'll never forget where I come from. I'll never forget those feelings that I had, the emotion that I have, the emotion that I had today, just sharing my story. And so because of all that, I'm so thankful that the Mississippi Kidney Foundation has the Mississippi Kidney Cares podcast. And we hope that you continue to come back, that you continue to support, like, share, call, do whatever you got to do. Invite somebody else to listen. Put it up on the big screen at the dialysis center. I don't care what you do. But I hope my words and the words of other people help save your life, a family member's life, anybody's life, because that's the number one goal. Prevent kidney failure, and if your kidneys do fail, extend your life beyond what you think or initially thought that was going to happen. So for me, TJ Mayfield, the executive director and the host of the Mississippi Kidney Cares podcast, thank each and every one of you for your support, for your love, appreciation, donation, whatever you've done to support me, the Mississippi Kidney Foundation, or kidney patients, wherever. Thank you. I love you. Peace.